Hey you, yeah, you, please don't be this type of disc golfer. And if you are, here's your opportunity to change. So I play a lot of disc golf, like a lot, which is awesome, I'm not gonna lie. But one of my favorite parts is being able to get rounds in with so many different people. It's funny because I have my local group I play with on a damn near everyday basis at this point, yet I don't know any of their last names and have no way of contacting them even if I wanted to. Yet I can guarantee the next day I'll see them out for another round. And it's not like we plan anything. No, it's more one of those situations you see someone's car in the parking lot and try to hunt them down. And if you do happen to see them on the course, you chuck a safari shot and you're off to meet up with them. Ken is one of my favorite human beings. He's in his mid 60s and tries to play disc golf from sunup to sundown every day he can, wearing the same hat that's hanging on by a thread. If I don't see Ken's van in the parking lot, I have anxiety that he's dead that will last until the next time our paths cross. I went the entire winter mourning my friend's death. Turns out he just doesn't play once it gets below 35 degrees. Would have been nice to know. The thing about playing with so many people is all the different characters you see, and not everyone is as awesome as Ken. Don't get me wrong, most disc golfers I run into are pretty dope, but there are a few things that can rub me the wrong way. And if there's one thing I know, it's how to rub myself. There's a few key indicators if I'm going to have a good day at leagues or not. The first being if anyone is blaring music. Now that's not the issue. It's only if they don't ask first. Or if it's bad, I'll hate you forever. As Brandon would say, no Nickelback allowed. Not sure if you've ever experienced two dudes who really want to play their speaker. I just ran into this problem for the first time, and I thought it was universally known that whoever kept the scorecard had the right of way to the music. Is that not a normal practice? And if it's not, I don't see a reason it shouldn't be. Never in my life have I ever volunteered to keep score. That shit sucks. So if anyone will go out of their way to do it for the card out of the kindness of their heart, I'll let them play their Elton John. No complaints. But don't even for a second think of playing some dumb TikTok songs unless you got a cold beer waiting for me. It always helps when someone steps up to do the score too, because then I don't have to hear all the shitty excuses that one guy will always give. You've heard them plenty of times before. My phone's about to die. My app has this glitch. Or my all-time favorite, I don't know how to do it. You don't know how to tap a screen? Okay, buddy. Thankfully for sanctioned stuff, that issue is solved. But for all the leagues that are filled with people who don't know how to use their phones, we still have to endure the pain. Almost as bad as the people who genuinely hide when they have a good tag. The point is to continue to improve. You can't do that when you hide with number 13, Harold. Nothing worse than when homeboy with the one tag has every reason not to show up to league to defend their spot. Don't be scared and earn that shit. If you have a good conscience, don't be like these people. You're better than that. At least, I hope so. If you need help on your etiquette, be like Frankie over here. He's at the course every chance he gets, flaunting that one tag around, because he isn't afraid of losing it. He'll always be the first guy to raise his hand when there needs to be a scorekeeper, and even keeps the music down to a respectably low volume, which is a shame, because he's on the good side of the speaker players. The place you want to be. Frankie is the type of guy you want in your card, if I'm being honest. The dude that makes sure you know how good of a shot that was. Or when you need to pick me up, there he is with that positive mindset. I have yet to see any sort of anger come out of this man. And I truly think the worst thing I can say about Frankie is that he putts with judges. I mean, you did everything right just to tear it all down with one simple choice. It's okay, I guess, since you do jam putts from everywhere with that quick flick of the wrist. I'm confused, because either I never saw you throw the envy, or you rely on that sidearm approach that much. Which is totally fair. I can count the amount of backhand upshots I've thrown this week on one hand. I like to see that zone in the back for straight to overstable shots, but after you picked up that soft yarn, I think we can both safely say you moved on. When you're an intellectual like myself, it's the natural process. The last thing you gotta do is commit. And then the next thing is to take that justice, take that and chuck it as far down the nearest river you can find. There isn't any use for that shit. If you want some more beef, just get a normal yarn and your problem's solved. I don't know, I just always thought the Buzz OS was a goofy disc to like. There's nothing special about it, a stupid ass name, and so many other discs that do the same shit. It's not like you can't afford a new mid as I'm looking at this Halloween stamp Buzz every Discraft fanboy has. Rocking that soul in the understable mid-range slot wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but I think Discraft's dick is already down your throat deep enough. You don't want to become like the rest of those people. Would you look at that? The Vulture. I'll make this one quick. Replace it. Which is the same I could say about the Sergeant over there. mostly because I don't know what the hell it is. So give me a second while I do my research. I came to the conclusion this is if the PD was in the ROTC. Finally, Frankie, a disc I can say you did a good job bagging. I like having a set of Firebirds too, one being beefy, and you insured it with the Metal Flake version, and then to pair it with the flippier one to get the same hand feeling but completely different shots. Even cooler is to flex you're throwing a 2018 Sexy Bird. Might as well throw the whole dick on the table at that point, but I know you're saving that for the 2015 you're holding on to. Hey dummy, I just talked you up. Now it's time to let go of that felon. There's no need for it. Be grateful because I'm taking it easy on ya for this Champ Starfire. Only because I don't know the last person I saw throw one of these things. And it was my go-to before I even really liked disc golf. I've thrown a couple Falks in my day, and I still don't know what the hell they're supposed to do. I'm pretty sure they're just flippy because each one I've thrown either rolls or the hyzer is angled more sideways than your hat. Allegedly, these are his flippy drivers. Although I haven't thrown the Grimax or Strive, and I don't see that changing my future anytime soon. You probably should jump on that bandwagon as well. This is where Frankie pointed out that these are his forehand discs, and at first I really wanted to make fun of him for distinguishing that to me. Then I started to think of my bag, and realized every disc I forehand for the most part is only thrown for that exact reason. Opened up my eyes a bit. I do like the Venom, a beefy disc that I know you've beaten in so you get a nice turn, but that natural overstability will always fight back, which I think is key for a forehand to handle that torque. It's hard to argue someone's sidearm disc when it's got KJ's name on it. Kinda seems like they were made for one another. And now it's my favorite part. We get to the Destroyer collection. You know how I can tell if I'll like someone or not? Based on how many Destroyers they bag. I don't even know what that means, but I live by it now. I respect the different wear and tear between each disc. I can tell that they all have a unique role, or at least will require a different degree of angle to perform the ideal shot. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of this run of Destroyer. I'm not even sure of the name of this version. It was just a bit too overstable for my liking. The Violet was cool to see. Even if it doesn't fly that great, it looks cool, and what's more important here. Swirly discs will always have a place in my heart, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't get down with the F2. Wipe that stamp, and I'll probably like that disc so much more. And then your last two here were beaten more than a redheaded stepchild, which I'm sure allows for some sick flip-ups that a Destroyer shouldn't be capable of doing. There's just something so magical about used and abused Destroyers. And finally, the last disc in Frankie's bag, the Guild. I think that's how you say it at least. When I asked what this disc was, he told me it was Castaplast's version of a Destroyer. Do yourself a favor and get a 6 normal one then, because Casta doesn't do stable. It took me until the 14th hole of the round to realize that Frankie was in possession of our league's 1 tag. I would be lying if I said I was surprised. One of the deadliest spin putts in the area, and when he's hitting lines, there are a few people better. I mean, he has been playing for a minute now, so I hope he could hold his own. And he does way more than that. We'll just forget about the missed 10-footer. Kinda like how you're doing about that 1 tag I snatched from ya. Goes nice in my 2024 collection. It wasn't from this round either, people, so relax. I played pretty badly during this, but was a nice warm-up for the real thing. There's no doubt you'll be seeing more battles with Frankie on the channel, so make sure to show him some love in the comments below. If you need someone to model your game after, look Frankie's direction. Just keep your eyes away from his bag. Remember, it's the archer, not the arrow, which is why I'm going to assume he does such a good job at making those discs look decent, both forehand and backhand, which is important. If you needed a sign to learn either, here it is. I always hear this bullshit about next season I'm going to learn that. What does that even mean? We're at the end of May. There's plenty of time right now to try. Half you people are chucking 13 discs every hole. You're telling me you can't spare a forehand or two? Don't give me any of this crap about not wanting to throw bad shots, as I know at least 3 of your throws are ending in the woods anyway. There's nothing worse to me than someone who just does the same thing over and over again, expecting something to just click. Here's a hint. That's not how it works. If you want to get better at something, you have to actively try and do that. Some people will say changing discs won't help. I think that could have been said back in the early days of disc golf. Now there are so many different options of frisbees that it can actually be hurting someone if they happen to be using the wrong discs. We all know the people that bag stuff because they like the name or, I don't know, local legend Luke Sampson signed it. Still not a valid reason to bag that, Frankie. But I do like that you're working on your overstable approach spot since losing your zone. Instead of just picking up a new one, he's been working to find a disc that flies similar to what he lost. Because remember, a disc changes over time, and buying a new one to replace an old super beat up version doesn't really work. I'm going through that problem right now with my yarn. My previous one was in my bag for over a year, and the new one wants to fade harder than a stoner at midnight. Either you have to force yourself to learn new shots, which can be fun, or you find a different disc, such as a soft yarn, to hopefully be a closer replacement to what you lost. That was another one of those rambling videos by your boy. I'm not sure if people like when I do that or not, but I have a hard time thinking that'll stop, which is why I threw in that bag roast for you guys. Shout out to my boy Frankie for being a part of it, and thanks for that one tag. Welcome to the Berdogi universe, my guy. And people, plenty more to come. So make sure to subscribe.